Hello everyone and welcome back to the Netherworld Bibliothèque. My name is Vavain and today we are in the digital marketing section to talk about the power lever method. This is a book by Stuart Vickers which talks about how to do SEO or search engine optimization to get your business website to the top of search engine rankings. The tagline for this book is how magnetic coaches can attract great clients, but I would say don't worry about that. Even if you are not a coach, I would say that the information in this book still applies to the SEO for any business website or for any website really. So firstly, what is SEO? SEO is search engine optimization. So search engines are things like Google, Bing, Yahoo, and optimizing your search engine results means that you want your website to be the #1 result that comes up. You want people to see your website first and click on it before they see the competitors. So let's say that you are a coach, let's say you're a basketball coach in Missouri. So if people are searching online for you and they put in basketball coach Missouri, you want your website to be #1. You don't want the competitors ranking before you. So this book is going to teach us how to do that using the power lever method. Well, that's all well and good, but you might be asking, what is the power lever method? So to answer that question, I'm going to quote directly from the book. The power lever method is my formula for getting relevant, high-value commercial leads from Google through a combination of writing the best page content on the internet for your target market and then boosting it up to page 1 of Google through powerful links on the other websites. That was quite a long sentence, so if you're like, okay, but what does that mean? Still, what is the power lever method? All right, it seems that there are 2 steps to it. So firstly, keywords. So again, if you are a basketball coach in Missouri, if that's who you are, that's what you want to be writing or advertising on your website. So you want to have those words frequently throughout the pages on your website. It's no good if you've got, 10,000 words on your website, but you don't say at all that you are a basketball coach in Missouri. You might be saying you went to this university, you might say you have this experience, you trained with these teams. That's good information, but if people are searching for you using these key terms and you're missing out, then they're never going to find you. So the first thing is finding the keywords that are relevant to you. So really putting yourself in the shoes of your customer and saying, how are they searching for me? What words are they using to find me? And it's not a guessing game. This book does go through some resources that are available so you can see exactly how people are searching for your business. The other aspect to it is backlinks. So yes, absolutely, you need to be saying who you are and what you do on your website. But also you want other websites linking to you. So if you, again, just using this basketball coach from Missouri example, if you maybe are doing some interviews or you're going on a podcast and those companies or those news outlets have their websites and they're linking back to you, they're saying, today we had John Smith as our interviewee. He's this basketball coach from Missouri. Here's his website, and their websites are linking back to you. So it's a combination of you using the right keywords and people linking back to your website that makes the power lever method. So that is the way that you get traffic to your website. Now, the second component that I'm not going to go into too much detail, the second component is how do you convert this traffic into business? Because yes, you want people to find you, you want them to visit your website, but then how can you convert them to make a purchase or become a customer? So I'm not going to go into detail about that just because, as always, if it's interesting, I always encourage you to support the author and buy the book. I will leave descriptions in the I will leave links in the description section, but I will say that I did find this book really informative. This book seems to be self-published, and not in all cases, I do stress not in all cases, but sometimes when a book is self-published, I'm a bit skeptical. Sometimes it's like, couldn't you get a publisher? And sometimes, unfortunately, when I have read self-published books, I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of fluff, there's a lot of personal anecdotes, but it's not actually as advertised. It's not giving me the information that I'm after. Again, that is not in all cases, and certainly not in this case. I do think if you read this book, if you're like, what is SEO? How do I do it? Specifically, how do I implement the power lever method? You will absolutely get that information from this book. And I should just say, as always, going off on a tangent, I recently reviewed a different independently published book that was The Ineffable Name. It is about traditional witchcraft, so something completely different. That book, again, was very informative, very well written. So if that is a topic that you're interested in, I will link to that as well, because that was a really useful, really informative self-published book. So I'm going to talk a little bit in more detail about what keywords to use. So one of the things that the author talks about is low competition keywords. So for example, let's say that you want to write a blog about New York. Let's say that you want people to visit your website or your blog about New York. All right, but if people are typing in, things to do in New York or businesses in New York, the key term or the keywords New York, there's high competition. There are lots of companies already using those key terms. So you're going to be competing with a lot of people. Anytime they're searching for something New York, you're going to be one of 30 million different results. So you might need to niche down. So maybe why don't you try like New York at night? Okay, that's maybe less competition, but still quite competitive. All right, but what if you do like New York goth scene, for instance? How many bloggers out there are writing about the New York goth scene? I don't think that's a very mainstream topic. I think there's certainly an audience for it, but it's not really mainstream. It's maybe a little bit specialized, so not everyone is writing about it. So that's an opportunity for you to really capitalize on those keywords and make yourself the authority on that topic. So again, he does talk about certain resources that you can use to find keywords that have low competition, but that are still really useful, really valuable. People are searching for these terms, but not a lot of websites are optimized to pick up on these terms. Another way that you can drive traffic to your website is through redirecting domains. So if there's an expired website or expired domain, maybe like your competition, that's one of the bits of advice, you could buy that and have it redirect to your website. So remember earlier I said you want other people linking back to you. So if you've done an interview or a podcast and you want that website linking back to you, yes, or you can kind of like do it yourself, buy an expired domain and have that redirect back to you. So one example given in the book is teslamotors.com, that then redirected to tesla.com. But there is some advice about just be careful what links you buy. Google might put up some red flags and say, hey, is this a legitimate website that has reason pointing back to you, or are you being spammy? Are you being a little bit dodgy, just getting anything and everything to link back to you? More specific details on what to look out for, what's a good domain to redirect and what's a bad domain to redirect is in the book. And the last piece of advice that I'm going to share from the book is about PR. So PR and SEO are not exactly the same. Search engine optimization is how do people find you using the descriptive terms that you have used on your website. So if you're a jewelry company and you make silver jewelry and you're based in Taiwan, so your keywords are silver jewelry Taiwan, that is separate from PR. PR is the way that other people perceive you. It's your public image. So PR is public relations. That is about having the public having a good opinion about you, saying the staff are very friendly, or the product is good quality, or the product is durable. That's a good opinion that people have of you, separate to being a bit more objective and saying, what is it that you do? So if you want good PR, the easiest and most direct way is to approach a PR company and employ them and retain them, and they're going to write some amazing reviews about your product and so on and so forth, and do all kind of like public relations campaigns for you. But that is very expensive and maybe not within everyone's reach. So the main tip in this aspect from the book is, if you have a newsworthy story about your product or your industry, if you approach a journalist and have them write a news story about your industry or your product that references you and again links back to you. So for example, let's say some kind of innovation. So let's say that you make plastic, for instance, and you are a plastic manufacturer, but you've made this new biodegradable plastic. you can approach a news company and say, hey, do you want to write about me? Do you want to write a story about me or about this new innovation? And that way they're talking about the news. What is this breakthrough? What is this innovation? But they're talking about you. They're talking about your company. Again, your name, your company name, your website, and hopefully linking back to you. So just to wrap up, I think the book is really informative. I definitely understood more about tools like RFs, where you can find out how are people searching for my business instead of you trying to guess and get into the mind of your customer. I definitely learned more about low competition key terms, like high value but low competition key terms. And the book was written in a really like to the point way. So there were a few little like anecdotes about when the author worked for an insurance company, for instance, but it's lessons that he learned and that led to him starting the power lever method. It's not just purely autobiographical. If there's a little bit of personal information there, it's there for a reason. So yes, if you're interested, I will leave links in the description section for you to purchase the book. Or if you're thinking like, okay, it sounds interesting, but it's not quite for me, I don't feel comfortable doing that, or I just don't have the time to do that for myself. I believe Stuart Vickers is a consultant, so if you want him to employ the power lever method on your behalf for your website, I believe he does do that. So I think the book actually is like a clever sort of like soft sell, where it's like, here's this information, you can do it for yourself, but if you want more information or if you don't have the time, you can employ me to do it for you. All right, that's it. I'm going to go now because I have been paranoid with these candles on in the background, so you can probably see I'm not really looking at the camera. I'm kind of like looking to see if I set the place on fire. So that's it. I'm going to quit while I'm ahead. Thank you very much for your time, and maybe I will see you next time.